Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Made by Mitch. Standing in my new workspace that I'm super excited about. Over the next few months, hopefully we'll have a lot of projects getting this space kind of configured to how I'm going to be building things in it. And so I want to show you guys a couple videos of me doing that. Today what I'm going to be doing, thinking about doing a French cleat wall. So that's what I'm going to be showing you guys today. Hopefully you enjoy this build. So I just recently got a new pre-built building that I'm going to store my lawnmower in, as well as have some workspace to do some woodworking in. So for this build, I'm making a wall to separate the two areas and to have some tool storage. So what you've seen me do so far is just cut the studs down to size for this tool wall. I'm building this like a normal wall you'd find in a house or any kind of building, so the studs are going to be every 16 inches, and what I'm doing here is I'm just attaching the studs to the top and the bottom 2x4s. Next thing to do is to stand the wall up, and I need to fasten it to the studs on the pre-existing walls and also the floor joists. So that's what I do next. Put some screws into the side stud, and then also a bunch of screws into the floor joist on the bottom, so that way it would stabilize the wall. It's only fastened on the bottom and the side, so the top right corner is still pretty flimsy. So what I decided to do was to create a bulkheader, kind of like a doorway or the top of a window, just to create some strength there. So I got two 2x4s and put a piece of 1/2-inch plywood in between, and then a 2x4 on top of those perpendicular to give them some strength. After I got this bulkhead in place, it still wasn't as strong as I wanted it to be. So I decided to add a 2x4 across the trusses that I could tie the wall into. So what I did to tie the wall into the truss was I cut a couple pieces of 2x4, I screwed them together, and then I attached them from the top of the wall to the truss cross bracing in 3 different spots to add some strength to the wall. Another thing that this did was it helped me level the wall. Now, I understand that this may not apply to everyone's situation, but since I was doing this project, I thought I would just show everything that I had to do, so in case you would have to tie in a wall to something, at least you could see how I did it. Maybe you can learn from what I did. Next thing I did was I added a corner piece so that I can start putting up the sheeting. This is where things got a little bit interesting. So you're probably noticing that I'm using 4x4 squares rather than just 4x8 sheets of plywood. So I initially bought 2 4x8 sheets of plywood, and I put them on top of my car, strapped them down, and then this happened. I barely made it out of the parking lot. So I went back in the store and I bought a couple of 4x4 squares that would fit inside my car. This made things a lot easier. Then I used a straight edge to cut them to size and screwed them to the studs with 1¼ screws. Now I know there are different colors going on here, but that's because I salvaged half of the plywood that I broke when I started driving off with them. Next I added 2 coats of paint, and then it was time for the French cleat wall. I wanted to take a second to talk about French cleats and why I chose to use French cleats for my wall. So a French cleat is basically a board that is attached to the wall. It has a cleat at the top of it, and then you attach the other side of that to your furniture or your shelf or whatever you're hanging, so that way the weight holds on the cleat. So with my wall, I'm going to have several cleats up and down the wall, and that way I can hang my tools, shelves I make, boxes, all kinds of different things I put on the wall, and then I can move them around whenever I want to. That's the main reason why I chose a French cleat wall. So the next thing to do was to start ripping the boards for the wall. And I used just a normal 1x4 board that you would get at a Home Depot or a Lowe's. Then I started measuring out where I wanted these French cleats to be. I'm sure every wall is going to be a little bit different, so really you use the preference that you want for your wall, but I decided to go every 10 inches. Now I'm starting with the center board because I wanted to cover that center seam where the 2 sheets of plywood met. And so after I attached my first one, I just got 2 10-inch blocks and then put them right there for the second one. Now make sure you check your level, because if anything is off and you're using these spacer boards, it's only going to get worse as you go up. So I just, as I checked my level the whole time up, and then I attached them, and then I just repeated this process all the way up, and then I started from the middle again and went all the way down. Instead of cutting my French cleats to size beforehand, I decided to do it once I got them up. So I started to use the circular saw to do this, and I probably could have done it, but I just felt a little bit uncomfortable, and I wanted to note that if you're not comfortable making a cut, then don't do it. So I just used a small handsaw to do this, and it worked great. So this is the finished French cleat wall. I know this is a super simple and easy build, but I'm very happy with the way that it turned out. So this is part 1 of a 2-video series. The second video, I'm going to start to fill my wall with tools, hopefully show you guys how to make some different boxes, how to hang some tools, different things you can do with a French cleat wall. So stay tuned for that video. Well, that's it for this build. I know it was simple, but hopefully you learned something. I'm still new with YouTube, so I would love it if you would give me some feedback down in the comments. I would love it if you would subscribe, like this video, just to help me out and get my channel going a little bit. I'm going to be trying to put out some more videos very soon, so look out for part 2 of this. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.